So we are in the 9th session of our 10-week crash course on Islamic beliefs. And in the previous session, we talked about the necessity of an imam. The necessity, ضرورية الإمام. That at all times, from the time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam until the end of this life, there has to be a hujjah of Allah. There has to be a divine representative of God. لولا الحجة لساخت الأرض بأهلها. And we explained that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the aql, the intellect and logic and the justice of God and the mercy of God dictates that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to send prophets and messengers to guide people. Allah cannot leave people. Allah cannot expect people to do good and hold them accountable, but then not send a teacher for them. It's like someone making a school, but not sending a teacher to teach, and then testing the students. Is that fair? That's not fair. So this is a logical reason why there has to always be a hujjah of Allah. لِكَيْ لَا يَكُونَ عَلَى النَّاسِ حُجَّةٌ مِّن بَعْدِ الرُّسُلِ. So that there will be no hujjah upon people, for people upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we explained that was the proof for prophethood, but then we used the same proof for imamah. The same proof that there has to be a prophet at all times applies for imamah. After Rasulullah, that's it? There's no hujjah of Allah? No, there has to be a hujjah of Allah. And we explained last week, someone might say, what about al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum? The religion is complete. We say, yes, the religion is complete, but the explanation of the religion, the explanation of the Quran, these are all things that require an imam. And the biggest proof that you need an imam is the division that has taken place after Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa. Meaning that the job of the Prophet, yes, he completed his task, but you need a hadi, someone that will guide people, someone that will show people, and someone that will explain and interpret the Quran. So that was the proof for the imamah after Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa. Thank you. Now we move on. Today and tonight, the eve of the 15th of Sha'ban, we will be talking about the necessity and the belief in Imam Al-Mahdi Al-Muntadhar, Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Al-Sharif. Now, in a unanimous hadith, unanimous means Sunnis and Shi'as, they've narrated this hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. In Sahih Muslim, this is one of them, and many others narrate it. He says, Rasulullah says, Man mat walam ya'rif imam zamanih mata mitatan jahiliyah. The one who dies and does not know, does not recognize the imam of their time, this person dies the death of the jahiliyah. Who are the jahiliyah? Meaning before Islam, those people who did not accept Islam, the kuffar. What does this mean? This means that the belief in the imamah is just like the belief in Rasulullah, just like the belief in the prophethood, just like the belief in the day of judgment, just like the belief in all of the tenets of the faith. This is one. Second, it also means that at any time, at any zaman, there has to be an imam. Because Rasulullah says, Man mata walam ya'rif imama zamanih. He's not talking only about himself. Man mata walam ya'rifni. He says, the one who dies and does not recognize the imam of his or her time. What does this mean? This means that right now, there's an imam. 500 years ago, there was an imam. In 500 years, if life is continuing, there's going to be an imam. There's a hujjah of Allah at any given time, according to this unanimous hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. So, we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of His rahmah, out of His justice, He sent prophets and messengers. And for some people, today, some Muslims, they come and they say, the Prophet, he died and he said, yeah, you Muslims, you guys take care of it. You guys choose a leader. This is not logical. Allah sent 124,000 prophets. They were killed, they were persecuted, they were abused, they were assaulted, just so that people could be guided. Now, Rasulullah comes and he says, yeah, I'm going to die. And he knows there's munafiqeen, he knows there's hypocrites, he knows there's people that have just joined the religion of Islam. He says, yeah, you guys decide. That doesn't make sense. This is oppression on God. This is accusing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of not planning correctly. And this is also accusing Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. So we believe that Rasulullah appointed, because there has to be a hujjah of Allah at any given time. And when we were talking about the prophets, we said that not anyone could come and say, I'm a prophet. Not anyone could come and say, I'm an imam. The prophet must have a mu'jiza. The prophet must be appointed by another prophet before him. And we mentioned, we don't need to go back. So now we believe, and we mentioned in the previous session, Rasulullah appointed Imam Ali alayhi salam. And he named all of the imams after him. And here, there is so many ahadith that are mentioned in Sunni and Shi'i books, where Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, he says the imams or the khulafa, the umara, these are all words that are used after me are how many? How many? 12. Rasulullah, this is mentioned in Bukhari, this is mentioned in Muslim, in Sahih al-Tirmidhi, and in others. So Bukhari, this is a hadith mentioned in Bukhari, في كتاب الأحكام في باب جعله قبل باب إخراج الخصوم وأهل الريب من البيوت بعد المعرفة, صفحة, page 175, the copy printed in Misr, year 1355 Hijri. حدثني, this is Bukhari, he's mentioning this. Now, of course, the Shi'i sources are filled with this, but I'm just trying to prove a point from Bukhari and Muslim and Tirmidhi and others. He says, قال سمعت رسول عن جابر عبد الملك سمعت جابر بن سمرة, one of the companions of Rasulullah, Jabir bin Samra. قال سمعت النبي يقول, I heard the Prophet say, يكون 12 أميرا. The Rasulullah says there are going to be 12 amir. Amir means prince or leaders. Amir. فقال كلمة لم أسمعها. The narrator, he's saying, he said a word, I did not hear it. فقال أبي إنه يقول كلهم من قريش. He said, I asked my father, what is he saying? What is Rasulullah saying? My father said, they're all from Quraysh. Meaning, can anyone come and say, I'm a Amir, I'm the Imam, I'm the Khalifa of Rasulullah? No, you have to be from Quraysh, according to this hadith. Meaning from the tribe of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sahih al-Tirmidhi. حدثنا أبو كريب عمرو بن عميد عن سماك بن حرب عن جابر بن سمرة قال رسول الله يكون من بعدي 12 أمير ثم تكلم بشيء لم أفهمه فسألت الذي يليني فقال كلهم من قريش. Another hadith mentioned in Sahih al-Tirmidhi. According to them, they call it Sahih al-Tirmidhi. So Bukhari and Tirmidhi, this is one. Another in Muslim. These are some of the most authentic sources saying that there are 12 imams after Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. He says, دخلت مع النبي فسمعته يقول إن هذا الأمر لا ينقضي. Meaning this world, this life will not come to an end حتى يمضي فيهم 12 خليفة, until there will be 12 khalifa of Rasulullah. Meaning someone who is إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة, someone who's appointed by God and appointed by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. ثم تكلم بكلام خفي علي فقلت لأبي ما قال كلهم من قريش. So we have in some of the other hadith من أبناء فاطمة, they are from the children of Fatima. And in the Shi'i sources, now here the Sunni sources don't narrate, where the Prophet, he mentions name by name, every single one of them. So we have all of these sources. Now you come and you ask those people who don't follow the Imams of the Ahl Bayt, okay, who are these 12? Who are these 12? They come, first they say Abu Bakr, okay, he's from Quraysh. And then Umar, and then Uthman, and then Ali ibn Abi Talib, and then it goes quiet. You hear the crickets. Nothing. Because who are they going to say? Yazid, for example? Yazid is the Khalifa of Rasulullah, or Muawiyah, or some of the others. Then they start skipping names. They jump to Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, then they come to this person and that person. It's a mess. But this hadith is there. This hadith is very there. It's there and it's very clear. Now, we go to the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran. So we establish that there has to be a hujjah of Allah at any given time. This is one thing we established. Second, the hadith of Rasulullah where he says there's 12 umara after me, 12 leaders after me. We also know that at the end of time, no matter, we don't know when the end of time is going to be, but at the end of time, what will happen? Earth will be filled with justice after it has been filled with oppression and tyranny. And this is in the Quran and in the unanimous hadith of Rasulullah accepted by Sunnis and Shi'as. Allah says in the Quran, وَنُرِيدُ أَن نَمُنَّ عَلَى الَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَنَجْعَلَهُمْ أَئِمَّةً وَنَجْعَلَهُمُ الْوَارِثِينَ. And we shall bestow a favor upon those who were oppressed in the land. We will make them imams and we will make them the inheritors. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he says, نَحْنُ الْمُسْتَضْعَفُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. We were the ones who were oppressed, meaning our haqq was not given to us. In another verse in the Quran, Allah says in the Quran, هُوَ الَّذِي أَرْسَلَ رَسُولَهُ بِالْهُدَى وَدِينِ الْحَقِّ لِيُظْهِرَهُ عَلَى الدِّينِ كُلِّهِ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُشْرِكُونَ. He is the one who sent his Rasul, his messenger, بالهدى, with guidance, ودين الحق, and the true religion, ليظهره على الدين كله, meaning that the religion of Rasulullah, the real religion, it will overcome and overpower all other religions, all other ideologies, all other opinions and faiths. Has that ever happened? Since the time of Adam until now, has it ever happened? It hasn't happened. Because even during the time of Rasulullah, Islam was only in the Arabian Peninsula. During the time of Amir al-Mu'mineen, he had the haqq, but Amir al-Mu'mineen was fought and there was 3 civil wars, and even part of the Muslim country did not even accept Amir al-Mu'mineen. So it's never happened in history where لِيُظْهِرَهُ عَلَى الدِّينِ كُلِّهِ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُشْرِكُونَ. So what does this mean? This means that this is a promise of God that is yet to happen. And there's a promise in the Quran. لِيُظْهِرَهُ عَلَى الدِّينِ كُلِّهِ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُشْرِكُونَ. This will happen under Imam al-Mahdi. In a third verse in the Quran, Allah says in the Quran, وَلَقَدْ كَتَبْنَا فِي الزَّبُورِ مِنْ بَعْدِ الذِّكْرِ أَنَّ الْأَرْضَ يَرِثُهَا عِبَادِيَ الصَّالِحُونَ. Some people, they come and they say the belief in Imam al-Mahdi, this is only a Shi'i belief. No, it's not only a Shi'i belief. It's a Muslim belief, and even more than that, it's a universal belief. Jews and Christians. Allah says, وَلَقَدْ كَتَبْنَا فِي الزَّبُورِ, in the Psalms of David, مِنْ بَعْدِ الذِّكْرِ, in the Torah it's mentioned, in the Bible it's mentioned. What is mentioned? أَنَّ الْأَرْضَ يَرِثُهَا عِبَادِيَ الصَّالِحُونَ. That at the end of time, who will inherit the earth? Who will have power and authority? The righteous, the believers, and this will be under Imam al-Mahdi Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu al-sharif. This is in the Quran. Now in a hadith, Abu Dawood and At-Tirmidhi, they mention a hadith from Abu Sa'id al-Khidri from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. سمعت رسول الله يقول المهدي مني. The Mahdi is from me. يملأ الأرض عدلا وقسطا كما ملئت ظلما وجورا. He will fill the earth with justice and peace and prosperity, just as the earth has been filled with oppression and tyranny. This is something hard to imagine right now. This is why we have to do dua for that time. Because right now we live in a time of so much oppression, so much suffering, so many wars, so many crimes, so many people killed and oppressed. There will come a time where there will be peace on earth. It will become a perfect place. So here, يملأ الأرض قسطا وعدلا كما ملئت ظلما وجورا. In another hadith narrated by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, he says, لا تذهب الدنيا. This dunya will not come to an end حتى يملك العرب رجل من أهل بيتي, until this is one version of this hadith. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa says that earth or the ruler of the Arabs will be someone from my family, yuwati ismuhu ismi, and his name is my name. His name is my name. What's the name of Rasulullah? Muhammad, and that is the name of the Imam. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So now we mentioned the Rasulullah said there's going to be 12. You ask some of them, who are these 12? They don't know. They come, they say the first, second, third, and then they stop. You ask the Shi'as, and not all the Shi'as. You ask the Ithna Ashari Ja'fari Shi'as. Because Shi'a, there's also Ismaili Shi'a, there's Zaydi Shi'a, there's other Shi'a. You have to be on the right, exactly what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. Just because your name is Shi'a, you have to be the right type of Shi'a. You have to be the Shi'i that follows not only Imam Ali and then you stop at Imam al-Sadiq, for example. You stop at Imam al-Rida or Imam al-Kadhim. No, you have to follow all until Imam al-Mahdi al-Muntadhar. You ask the Shi'a, the Imami point of view, who are the Imams after Rasulullah? By the way, we have to know the names of the Imams. And we have to know and believe in the Imam of our time. Today I was reading narrations in Al-Kafi. The companions of Imam al-Sadiq, they come and they tell him, when will be the Faraj? About Imam al-Mahdi. They're asking Imam al-Sadiq, or they ask Imam al-Rida about Imam al-Mahdi and the other Imams. Because one of them, he comes to Imam al-Rida, he tells him, look at you, you're in a position of power, your name is being stamped on the coins, people, they come, they all say salam to you. Are you the Hujjah of Allah? The Imam, he says, no. The Hujjah of Allah, we will all be killed, we will all be poisoned, we will all be oppressed. The Hujjah of Allah will be the one who will fill it with justice after has been filled with oppression. Another one, he comes to Imam al-Sadiq. He tells him, when will be the Faraj? He tells him, there's a whole chapter in Al-Kafi. This is what it's called. It's called, it doesn't matter if you are with the Imam as long as you die believing in the Imam. And if you die believing in the Imam and knowing the 12 Imams and you accept them, the hadith says it will be as if you are carrying a sword and you are under the banner of Imam al-Mahdi. So today a lot of people, they come, they say, what if I die and the Imam has not appeared yet and I'm not from the followers of the Imam? No, there's a whole chapter from the Imams of the Ahl Bayt. They say if you just have to believe, you just have to accept, you just have to believe and follow the Imam, it will be as if you are carrying the sword and you are in the tent of the Imam. This is what the hadith says. So who are the Imams? Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. And then Amir al-Mu'mineen, he passed it and he mentions. And also, this is also mentioned in the books of hadith in Al-Kafi. For example, Amir al-Mu'mineen on his deathbed, what does he say? He says the Imam after you is who? Imam al-Hasan. And then Imam al-Hasan on his deathbed, he says the Imam is Imam al-Hussein. And then Imam al-Hussein on the day of Ashura and before, he said the Imam is Ali ibn al-Hussein, Zayn al-Abidin. And then Imam al-Baqir. And then Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. And then Imam Musa al-Kadhim. And then Imam Ali al-Rida. And then Imam Muhammad al-Jawad. And then Imam Ali al-Hadi. And then Imam al-Hasan al-Askari. And then Imam al-Mahdi al-Muntadhar. Ajjal Allah ta'ala farajahu al-Sharif. And we have to see, a part of the Aqidah is that you have to know and recognize the Imams of your time. This is why when we bury someone, in the talqeen, what do we say? We mention the names of all the Imams. There are some people, they don't know the names of the Imams. You have to know them. And not only you have to know them, but you have to know why you follow them. You have to have certainty in the faith that you that you have in them. So the 12th is Imam al-Mahdi al-Muntadhar, who was born on the 15th of Sha'ban in the year 255 after Hijrah. He was born year 255 after Hijrah, and this is one of the major differences between we, the followers of the Ahlul Bayt, and the other Muslims. Because the other Muslims, they believe in Imam al-Mahdi. They believe that at the end of time, he will come. At the end of time, they mention many ahadith, many ahadith. One of them, Al-Mahdi, قال رسول الله كيف أنتم إذا نزل ابن مريم وإمامكم منكم. How will you be if the son of Mary comes down and the imam who will lead the prayer in front of Isa is who? Minkum, Imam al-Mahdi. Today some people, they come and they say, you Shi'as, you believe that the imams are greater than the prophets. This is a hadith accepted by all Muslims. This is a hadith mentioned in Bukhari. I looked it up today. It's mentioned in Bukhari. كَيْفَ بِكُمْ إِذَا نَزَلَ ابْنُ مَرْيَمْ وَإِمَامُكُمْ مِنْكُمْ. Who's leading the prayer? Who's Jesus praying behind? Jesus, Isa, when he comes down, he will pray behind Imam al-Mahdi. What does this show you? Who's greater? Imam al-Mahdi is greater. And of course we have other proofs. But this is just one of them, and this is narrated in all the books of hadith. So here, the Imam al-Mahdi al-Muntadhar, the only difference, others believe in Imam al-Mahdi. But then we believe that the Imam is born. He was born on the 15th of Sha'ban. His father is Imam al-Hasan al-Askari. His grandfather is Imam al-Hadi. He was born in Samarra. His mother is Fulana, Narjis. And he was born. The others, they mention a hadith, and this is also, we also have this hadith, but it's mentioned in a different way. He says, Al-Mahdi, in Musnad Ahmad ibn Hanbal, he mentions this hadith. He says, Al-Mahdi minna ahl al-bayt yuslihuhu Allah fi layla. So they come and they take this hadith, they say Imam al-Mahdi could be someone who's a thug, who's a criminal, who's a, any person, just someone. يُصْلِحُهُ اللَّهُ فِي لَيْلَةٍ. Within one night, he will change, he will have a transformation, and then suddenly he will come and he will say, I'm the Mahdi, and he will establish justice on earth after it has been filled with oppression. We say no. We say, Al-Mahdi minna ahl al-bayt يُصْلِحُ اللَّهُ أَمْرَهُ فِي لَيْلَةٍ. Meaning Allah will make ease. Within one night, everything could change. This is why we should never lose hope. We should never lose faith. Some of us, we lose faith quickly. يُصْلِحُ اللَّهُ أَمْرَهُ فِي لَيْلَةٍ. Meaning within one night, everything could change. Just like within one night, Musa alayhi salam, Allah spoke to him and he becomes Kalimullah. He becomes Kalimullah. Within one night, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could change all of the rules. And this oppression will turn into, we will have a leader who will save us and establish justice. So these are the differences that we have between the Sunni and non-Shi'i school of thought. That all Muslims believe in Imam al-Mahdi. All Muslims accept that at the end of time, justice will be established by al-Mahdi. He's from the descendants of Rasulullah, the descendants from Quraysh. The difference, we believe he was born. That's one. He was born. Second, we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hid his birth. And we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed him in a ghaiba, in an occultation, and Allah prolonged his life. Some people, they come and they say, how do you believe in that? How could someone live for such a long time? How could someone be in a ghaiba? How could this and how could that? Before we rush to conclusions, let's go to the Quran. Does the Quran give us an example of someone who's a prophet of God and his mother's pregnancy was hidden? Which prophet? Prophet Musa alayhi salam. Prophet Musa, his mother, she did not see any sign of her pregnancy. This is the hadith of Imam Sadiq. He says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose for our qa'im features that he chose for the prophets of God. One of them, the pregnancy was hidden just like the pregnancy of the mother of Musa alayhi salam. And the pregnancy of Narjis, the mother of Imam al-Hujjah, it was hidden. Even Hakima, on the night of the 15th of Sha'ban, Hakima, the aunt of Imam al-Askari, she visits the Imam. Imam al-Hasan al-Askari, he tells her, oh my dear aunt, tonight stay with us. Because tonight, tonight Waliyullah al-A'zam will be born. So she tells him, who's pregnant? She tells him, who in the house is pregnant? He tells her, Narjis. She says, I looked at Narjis. There's no sign of pregnancy in Narjis. I tell him, are you sure? He tells me, yes. La tashukki. Don't have doubts in the amr and the promise of Allah. So she says, that night I slept. She says, I go to Narjis. She believed in the Imam. She goes to Narjis. Narjis, she was initially purchased as a slave. So Hakima is the aunt of Imam al-Askari. Her father is an Imam. So Narjis, she goes, she wants to take the shoes off of Hakima, because Hakima is from the family of Rasulullah. She comes, she tells her, Sayyidati. Narjis tells her, Sayyidati. Oh my mistress, let me serve you. Hakima tells her, Bal anti Sayyidati wa Sayyidatu ahli. You are my master. You're the one who's carrying Waliyullah al-A'zam. She says, that night, we spent the night in ibadah on the eve of the 15th of Sha'ban, and I look, I see there's no sign of giving birth. There's no sign of pregnancy. So then Imam al-Askari, he tells her, La tashukki. Don't have doubt, oh aunt. She says, at Fajr, Imam al-Mahdi was born. And when he was born, he recited this verse, وَنُرِيدُ أَن نَمُنَّ عَلَى الَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَنَجْعَلَهُمْ أَئِمَّةً وَنَجْعَلَهُمُ الْوَارِثِينَ. This is one thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose, just like Musa alayhi salam. Another is he prolonged his life. Is it strange for someone's life to be prolonged? Which prophet did Allah prolong his life? Prophet Nuh alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about Nuh. He says that Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, he was with his people he was serving. He was a prophet carrying out the mission for 950 years. 950 years. This is just the time that he was delivering the message. Now, he lived after the flood, and before that, he was guiding people. 950 years. Is that impossible for Allah? It's not. If Allah wants someone to live long, this is also the case. And the ghaiba, the occultation, is that also something strange? No. Because which prophet of Allah was raised and is in an occultation? Prophet Isa alayhi salam. Prophet Isa. We believe Prophet Isa didn't die. So if you believe in the Quran, if you accept the Quran, then it should not be a problem for you to accept that the final Savior, the one who is the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, also has traits and qualities that he inherited from the prophets. Is that something strange? Why do we accept it with Musa and Isa and we don't accept it with the one who Allah talks about in the Torah and in the Injil and in the Zabur? يَمْلَأُهَا قِسْطًا وَعَدْلًا بَعْدَمَا مُلِئَتْ ظُلْمًا وَجَوْرًا وَنُرِيدُ أَن نَمُنَّ عَلَى الَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَقَدْ كَتَبْنَا فِي الزَّبُورِ مِنْ بَعْدِ الذِّكْرِ. This is a promise of Allah that's repeated throughout all of the books and all of our history. It has been repeated. So here is the difference. Some of the Muslims, they say that it could be any person. He wasn't born, but then he is going to come and he's going to establish justice. We say no. And this is the difference. This is why we celebrate the 15th of Sha'ban. This is why we celebrate the birth of the Imam. And there are many narrations where Imam al-Askari alayhi salam, on the birth of Imam al-Mahdi, he invited some of his close companions. Now, why did some people doubt in the birth of the Imam? Because Imam al-Askari was living in Samarra. Samarra was a huge compound, a military compound. Right by is the palace of the king and the Khalifa. And they knew very well that the 12th from this family is going to be someone who is going to establish justice. This is why the Khulafa of Bani al-Abbas, they were waiting and they had spies in the house of the Imam. From the time of Imam al-Jawad, Imam al-Rida, Imam al-Hadi, Imam al-Askari, they had spies in the house of the Imams waiting and anticipating for this 12th. The same way Fir'aun, he started slaughtering the children of Bani Israel. Why? Because he had heard prophecies that there's going to be a child born in here that's going to be the reason why he is going to lose his power. These prophecies were being mentioned during the time of the birth of the Imam. Bukhari, he was born, he was living and narrating the hadith at the same time. Going the year of the death of Bukhari, I forgot it, but it's around 200 something. So it's the same time. Muslim, same time. Ibn Hanbal, same time. They're mentioning a hadith of the Imam. يملأها قسطا وعدلا بعدما ملئت ظلما وجورا. So this is the Khulafa. They're having anxiety, and they're monitoring the house of the Imam. This is why the house of Imam al-Askari was under so much scrutiny. They were being watched, and they were waiting. Is there any child in this house? This is why they say that after the death of Imam al-Askari, they imprisoned Narjis. They wanted to watch her. Is she pregnant? Is she not pregnant? The women who were in the house of the Imam, they wanted to see, is there going to be a child born or not? They had not seen this child that was born, because Imam al-Askari had two major roles. One was to hide him and protect him from certain individuals, but at the same time he has to show him to certain companions. So he would call some of the companions, he would bring them in a room, and he would show them, and he would tell them, هذا صاحبكم. This is your Imam. And he would speak as a child the same way Isa used to speak. This, inshallah, would require a lot more discussion to mention. But now, just so that we could kind of, discuss this topic thoroughly, how can we benefit from an Imam in an occultation? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Someone might ask, okay, what was the purpose of the Imam? What was the purpose of prophets? Aren't they to benefit people? So how am I benefiting from this Imam who I don't see, who I'm not connected with? One, his existence, his wujud is a ni'mah and a barakah, and we benefit from it. Just his existence. Why? Because لولا الحجة لساخت الأرض بأهلها. If there was no hujjah of Allah, then life would be, that's it. There would be no point. It would be Yawm al-Qiyamah. It would be the day of judgment. Because we mentioned there has to be a proof of God. This is the same proof that we used for the prophets, and then we used for the Imams. Second, we benefit from the Imam in an indirect way. Maybe I don't notice, but we do benefit from the Imam. The hadith, the Imam, he himself, he writes a letter to Shaykh al-Mufid. He tells him that you benefit from me like you benefit from the sun on a cloudy day. When there's a cloudy day, do you still need the sun? You still need the sun. You can't survive without the sun. You need the sun. This is how you benefit from the Imam. And last week I gave this example. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes sends people in our lives we don't notice. We don't realize, but they have a ni'mah. They have a blessing on our life. In Surah Al-Kahf, which is recited on Fridays, Allah describes the story of Musa and the abdan min ibadina, the Khidr, according to some narrations. What does Khidr do when he's traveling with Musa? Khidr goes, he punctures a boat. He goes and he builds a wall. He goes and he kills a person. Musa has no clue what's going on. Khidr, he was not acting as someone who has the ahkam of a normal person. Khidr was an agent sent by God, just like Israel, just like Jibreel, but he was a human being. So why did he kill? Killing is wrong. These rules, he was an exception to the rules. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to show Musa alayhi salam that sometimes God could send someone in people's lives without even Musa realizing, without those people realizing. The people who he punctured their boat, did they know who Khidr was? They didn't know who Khidr was. Khidr, he comes and he punctures the boat. Then later on, Musa tells him, why are you doing this? Later on, it becomes reality, it becomes clear. He says there's a king who's taking every boat that's in good shape. So I wanted to make a small problem with it so that the king would not take it from them. This is God sent him in their lives without them realizing. Second, those people who he built the wall. They go to a town, they're hungry, they ask for food, they don't give them food, and then he goes and he builds a wall. Musa tells him, what are you doing? He builds a wall. Then later on he tells him, beneath this wall is a treasure, money that belongs to orphans, and I wanted to protect it for them. Did those orphans know that someone came and built the wall and Allah sent him? They had no clue. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent someone to come and do this for them. Same with the man he killed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave that family a daughter who became the mother of prophets. Many prophets of Bani Israel, they were from that family. So here, what does this story show us? The story teaches us that sometimes someone could be in our lives, we don't know this person. So is this possible for Imam al-Mahdi to be in my life? And I don't know? Maybe the Imam is doing dua for me. Maybe the Imam is doing something for me that I do not realize. This is one. Another way that we benefit from the Imam, right now, mosques, Husayniyah, places of worship for the Shia school of thought. How is a lot of the financing for these places? Where does it come from? Donation, what kind of donation? Khums. Who does the khums belong to? It's the money of the Imam. Right now we're sitting here utilizing the money of the Imam that's keeping the lights on. Are we benefiting from the Imam? Is the Imam helping us? Of course he is. So this is how we benefit from the Imam. We benefit from the Imam and we come and we ask, where is the Imam and how are we going to benefit from the Imam? We benefit from the Imam in many ways, directly and indirectly. Now, what's our duties? Our duty during the time of the ghaibah is to believe in the Imam. That's number one. A lot of people, they slowly start losing their faith. They lose their hope. You have to believe in the ghaib. You have to believe in the unseen. And from the best deeds is, there's a hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. He says, "Min afdal a'mal ummati intidhar al-faraj." From the best a'mal, deeds of my ummah is to wait for the faraj. What does waiting for the faraj mean? Waiting for the faraj means setting the foundation, preparing for the Imam, making sure that we are ready for the Imam. A lot of people, they ask, when is the Imam going to come? What is the Imam going to do when he comes? Who's going to be with the Imam? What are the signs of the Imam? We're asking the wrong question. Why don't I ask, when am I going to be ready for the Imam? Am I ready for the Imam? What have I done for the Imam? We have to change our perspective and ask about us. Because maybe the Imam comes tomorrow and I tell him, you know what, I'm not ready for you. I have an appointment. Maybe I have something going on and you know what, it's kind of inconvenient right now. Maybe next year. This is how some of us are going to be probably, right? Because we have lives and we have routine, schedule, we have so many things. When the Imam comes, if he tells me, Yallah, I need you right now, am I going to be ready to drop everything and tell him I'm at your service? This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has delayed it. Because right now, and this is also in the hadith, Imam al-Rida, when that man came and tells him, look, you have all these followers, hundreds of followers, your name is being put on the stamp, the Imam says, don't look at the quantity, look at the quality. Because right now we look at these Muslims, these Shia, Salam, Ya Mahdi, all these people, they're ready to fight for the Imam. How many of us are really going to be ready for the Imam? This is the big question. Imam al-Hussein, they were telling him, come, we will be with you, and then they killed him. So this is the question. This is why we have to ask Allah to make us from the sincere followers of the Imam. And another duty that we have is act, do, prepare. If when the Imam comes, what would he want to do right now? What would be the duty of the Imam? He would establish justice. He would help the needy. He will do good things. So why should I wait until I do the good things? Do the good things now. Prepare for the Imam now, because the Imam sees your actions. وَقُلْ اعْمَلُوا فَسَيَرَ اللَّهُ عَمَلَكُمْ وَرَسُولُهُ وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Do good deeds, God sees your actions, His Prophet and the believers. So we ask Allah to hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time and to make us from his sincere and loyal and devout followers. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ala alihi at-tahirin.